I like that. And I love those. Those typical bombs on white, stir frosty on top of it. Not a donut. A donut should be about that big,
Please keep
chocolate,
yourselves on
chocolate
mute.
on the inside, and on the top we put the cream.
Who's watching TV?
Still waiting for response.
Okay. Okay. One thing you can do is, if you want to print all the values in new line, okay, you can use slash n like this. Okay, this is how your, just as you entered your values, likewise your list will get displayed. Okay, all the values have been displayed in new lines. Or you can also give spacing in between. If you want to display the list in a single line but with spaces in between, then you can just specify how much space you want. Okay, accordingly you can give any value. Okay, I have given 4. Is it clear?
Okay. Okay, then let's move
Yes,
forward.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so this is how we will enter values into an array and display those values. Okay, now thing is, see, there's another way. Here what I did is, I had entered all the 10 elements because my array size was 10. So I entered all the elements, but it might happen that the user may allocate space, okay, for 10 elements, but initially he might wish to enter lesser elements than 10. Okay, suppose although you have allocated a space for 10 elements, but at the first you would, it might happen that you changed your mind and for the time being you would like to say enter only 5 elements, and you have reserved those, you want to enter the elements later. Okay, in that case what happens is you can just give an option like this to the user, like this, that
What you can do is, you can use this option to optimize the
printf
data that you have received. So it's in the table.
how many elements you would ask so although you have allocated a space for 10 elements, but you have given the option to the user that how many elements would the user wish to enter. Of course the user has to enter maximum of, he can enter a maximum of 10 elements, okay, but he can enter lesser elements also. So suppose you have given the option to the user, okay, of entering the number values, how many elements would the user like to enter.
Whatever trend you should get. Okay, based because of this duplicate data or because of the
How many elements
empty data,
in the
your
array.
result is skewed. That means your result might not be exactly or your trend may not be correct. Okay, so it's very important to identify such values.
Suppose suppose you want to enter n elements in the array. So n means the user will give the input. Okay, so let me just give it here n. Okay, the user will say, suppose that he wants to enter say 3 elements, because if you don't give that to the user, what happens is then you'll have to enter all the elements in the array. If you take the side element number of elements to be 100, suppose you have taken the array to be a 100, okay, then what happens is if you directly use that value 100, then you have to enter all the 100 elements, but it is up to the user. Okay, make it flexible, leave it to the user. The user might not want to enter 100 elements, he might want to enter only few elements. So that we will leave up to the user, how many elements would the user want to enter for the array, say n. Okay, and then what you have to do is just make this n. Okay, make this n. So the array will the array can contain a maximum of 10 elements, okay, but still, and what will be the value of n? N has to be either equal to 10 or it has to be less than 10. Okay, so I have made it quite flexible.
Right. But let's take another example where if you have a list of guests, and then the guests actually gave their preference of choice of fruits they have to take.
How many elements in the array? Say, though my array can contain 10 elements, but now I will simply enter say 4 elements in my array. Okay, enter all the elements, say 22, 66, 11, and 88. See, But in the previous program, you cannot, unless you enter all the 10 elements in the list, your you will not get the, the next statements in the program will not be executed. Okay, but here in this case I had given a choice, so n will contain that value, that choice. Okay, have you understood what I said? So it is up to the user. Though your array size is say 10, that means at maximum of you can enter 10 elements in the list, but still it might happen that the user does not want to enter 10 elements. Maybe he would wish to enter lesser elements. Okay, so depending on that, you can give n. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so this was simply to enter and display values. Okay, enter values into an array and to display values from an array. Now, say you want to display the elements in the array in reverse order. Okay, that also you would wish to do. That, ma'am, we entered the elements into the array, but now I would like the list to be displayed in the reverse manner. That also you can do. What you will have to do is say, till here it will be same. Of course, to read the elements, it has to be the same. Okay, then while displaying, what you can do is, instead of taking I from 0, you can start taking I from the end. Okay, you can start counting I from the last and then keep on decrementing it one by one. That means I will make I point to the last element first. Okay, and it will go on decrementing one at a time. So every time the value is displayed, so I will first point to the last element, then I will be decremented, I will come to the second last position, and then it will display that value, and then I will be decremented, I will come to the third last position, and likewise it will go on, printing the values in the reverse order. Okay, say I want to display enter 5 elements into the list. Suppose my elements are 2, 5, 1, 7, 8. Okay, the 5 elements are done. Just look at the, okay, ये बात अब भूल हो तो बार हाँ ठीक है ऐसे last value to wait, this has to be
So the total complex filtering, advanced filter of values, the advanced filter depends on user defined criteria that can be applied to several forms of data simultaneously. The criteria
okay,
specified
it's
on the
correct now.
same spreadsheet
52178. So if you see 87125, I have just displayed the values in the reverse order.
based on some criteria.
Have you understood what I did? See what I did? I just reversed the position of the array. Initially, what was I doing? I was just pointing at the indices from 0 to the last position. Yes. While displaying the list, you are now supposed to display the values from the last to the first. So what will you do? Just reverse the position of I. Shift I from the first to the last element. And then go on decrementing the value of I one by one. That's it. Okay.
Data, some of us
Is it clear? Because and what did I do here? See the change I made here. You cannot take I to be n because there's no n. Okay, if there are n elements in your list, then indexes will be counted from indices will be considered from 0 to n minus 1. So now you are pointing to the last element. Your last element is not n. Your last element, if you start from 0, your index will end at what? N minus 1. So if you are to point to the last element has to be n minus 1, not n, because you are starting from 0. Okay, just follow this part. Your I starts from 0 and ends at n minus 1. So that you'd have to do. Now your I will be n minus 1 and it will be less than, greater than or equal to 0. That is what you have to do. I hope it is clear. Now let us do another example to add elements into the array. Okay, now we will add elements into the array.
criteria range for filtering. Okay, so that could be mentioned in the same Excel. So here you can see here B2 to D2, sorry, B1 to D2, this is the criteria range. Okay, that's what it was meant by.
These are very easy.
The criteria range should be also in the same Excel sheet. So based on this criteria, I can take this data that is from A4.
So how are you going to do that? It's the same thing.
Would be filtered.
For I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus.
Okay. So now what? How is it done?
Sum equal
So
to
what I am doing right now
sum
is first,
plus ai.
click on data. Okay, then sort and filter, and then advanced. Okay, so here you can see. So what I am doing first, I am first clicking on data. Then the sort and filter section of this data column, I am setting the advanced option, right? And there, this particular box will appear, wherein I have to filter the list of key phrase.
So what I have done is, you see, I want to add all the elements in the array. Okay. So initially I have taken, just as you have done adding of first and natural numbers using for loop, it is the same logic. Yes or no? You have done it already to add the first and natural numbers using for loop, add the first and natural numbers using for loop. It is the same thing here. Whatever element I will be entering, okay, for the array, I will be summing those up and I have to display the sum. Okay, so this is the segment for that. Okay, so first I will take sum to be 0, and every time I enter one value, that value will be added with that latest sum and my sum will be updated. So every time I have a value, my sum will be updated by that value, and finally I will be left with one final sum. That is what I have done. Okay. Suppose I want to enter 4 elements in the array. Enter the elements into the array. Say 5, 9, 3, 2. Okay. So first my values will get displayed. 5, 9, 3, 2 are the values, and then the sum. 5 plus 9 is 14. 14 plus 5 is 9. 14 plus 5 is 19. Therefore my sum is 19. Understood the program? The logic is the same. Okay. The logic is the same as adding first natural numbers, first and natural numbers using for loop. It's the same logic. Every time I have a number, that number will be added with sum, and my sum will be updated. And this will continue till I reach the last element.
So after filtering, this is a value that we get.
Okay? Just go through it. If you do not understand, ask me. Okay.
So I think we have Akash, Aishwarya, and Dipti who have scored 35 above in all the subjects, right? Apart from that, even Carol has less marks in mathematics. Karthik, I think, yeah.
What happened? Nobody is responding.
Karthik also, I think Karthik, yeah, Karthik was
Yes.
55 in mathematics. So
Okay.
he only this,
Is it clear? We have learned to read elements into the array to display elements of the list, then to display the elements in reverse order, also to find the sum of all the elements in an array. Okay.
18 in mathematics are not selected, right? So you have only 3 students where maths is criteria, and so my table is now filtered, and now I have a different.
Tomorrow you have another class. Tomorrow I will show you some more programs.
Let's say I want to keep this particular table intact.